Welcome in this new video. This year actually I want to start with a New Year spread for my Yijing, depending of course on what I find important for this year. Besides my personal family life or my friends, the people that I care for, most important for me in my career at this moment is the development of my research towards Daoland healthcare. And this is what my question is about, and I am going to ask about what do I need to do to secure funds for my research. You might know that last year I published a book about the Yijing. This is this book, and I have not done too much about the promotion of that book because I was so much busy with my doctorate and trying to prepare for that. But this year I'm going to have some more time, and I'm going to help you introduce the book a little bit better so that you can understand what you can do with the book, how well helpful it is compared to just a simple book with some lines, because I'm going to show you the relationship between the text, but especially the relationship with the Wu Xing and the Yin Yang. And if you are really interested in that, just sign up for the course of a Yijing Counsellor. It's a 2-year course, and it will help you to develop a deep understanding of the relationship with Yin and Yang, and it will also contain a lot of source material completely unknown in the West, which will completely upend your idea about Yijing, translations of Yijing that you might already have, or what people are telling you in popular media. I have personally a lot of friends who are practicing Yijing, give courses in them, and they disagree with me very much for the simple reason that I tell them that they are wrong because they focus too much on the text and they should focus more on the graphics. Fu Xi developed the Yijing on the basis of the idea that the graphics is enough to understand reality. So then you may ask, why do you then write a book about the Yijing which has a translation of the Yijing? Yeah, I made that translation myself, also as part of my discovery of the Yijing, and I spent a lot of years on trying to get that translation right, for the simple reason that translating the Yijing helps me to understand the text much better and also what is being intended. I did that because I was dissatisfied about the translations that I had, and especially the one from Richard Kunst, which is very highly praised and for whom's footnotes I'm very grateful, because these are really great, but he left out a lot of the understandings of the Yijing, and I think maybe I misunderstand him, but it at least drove me towards my own translation. And at the moment, when I'm looking now at my translated work and the way how I have been developing since that time, giving these courses, which is one of my great pleasures in life, then at that moment I think I've done exactly the right thing, and I want to share this with you, and I want you to understand this, and I want you to become a master of the Yijing too. Let me tell you how my teachers told me how to start with Yijing to prepare, and on which I based also my Yijing cards in the past, which, if there is enough question for, I will let reprint, but at this moment I don't have any serious plans for that. These are the cards. There are 64 cards, each with 1 hexagram, and there's 8 times every trigram on the pictures, and some explanation and so on. But what I do normally, I start with a little bit of a link body practice. I just did recently, I did a workshop on that online. Every new year I do this, and you can also join the link body group either on Facebook, or you can join the app. I will provide you with the information below. It will cost you a little bit to help me fund my research and also the maintenance of my courses, to make sure that everything remains cheap and affordable for everybody in every social class, that not only the rich can do things, but actually everybody can do this. I think that is very important to be social about things. If you charge too much, that's very un-Daoist. And charging more than you need is, of course, then too much. What I start doing is a short meditation. I go sit. I start with my link body practice. I go past the level that people have been doing so far, usually when I see them and when I teach them, because most people don't maintain their discipline in that very much, or not enough. That is a disadvantage for any Chinese medicine practitioner, but also for Yijing practitioners, because you want to make sure that the ling in your whole body is active, so that you come in contact with your own life and with the life outside you. So the more you are developed in that field, the more easier it becomes. You can say this is a guiding instrument for your choices, and it is not intuition, because intuition is based on what you know, and you want to ask questions about things you don't know. This is what the I Ching tries to do. It tries to reach you outside that what you know. So you can't rely on your intuition. Intuition helps you fall back to what you already know, the box that you are in. And of course, then using other methods, they are meant to get you out of that box. Then at the moment when I do that, I look at the cards in reversed order and I pick card by card. Today is the first day of January 2026, and I am basically preparing to find funding for my research, and I would like to know, doing a little bit of esoteric approach through my I Ching book and cards from my earlier publication of the I Ching in Dutch, how I am going to find funding. If you are an I Ching expert yourself, you can also comment, and you can say like, oh, maybe this is the way and your interpretation is wrong, so just let me know. And you see the cards give me the opportunity that I Ching coins don't give, actually. They give me the opportunity to see a trigram which is upside down. So there's a change here where two yin lines are changing into yang lines, and there's an upside down here. I don't know what it means, so there's no explanation of that. And there is here this complete reversal of this thing here. So the only thing that is constant in here is the passivity of the leadership line, the king line. And this king line is therefore the meaningful aspect of the reading of the I Ching. So therefore we need my book, the book that you of course have to buy, very natural. And at the moment when we look into the book, we are going to read the text. When we look at the line of the fifth line meaning, we see that it's not rich thanks to the neighbor, so the neighbor is not really helping, nobody really helping. Beneficial to use an invading attack, not unfavorable. Probably that means that I have to rob a bank. 39 is the hexagram that actually belongs to it. So this is the actual changing thing if everything would be stabilized, and that would mean that it's favorable in the southwest. The southwest is the direction of relative calmness and plainness at the same time. So it is not good to go into the northeast where it is thunder and lightning and risk and stuff like this. So it is favorable to be exposed to a considerably large cultivated one, and that is an auspicious determination. So please also remember this text, because when we look at hexagram number 38, where we talked about before, it says in the fifth line, regret goes away, faint in the ancestral hall, bite the skin, and what misfortune goes away. And it means that I just have to be very careful, because the hexagram that belongs to that line is hexagram number 10. This is the careful stepping on the tail of a tiger, and because of being careful, it doesn't bite me. That means I don't make enemies. Oh, that is really very nice. And you remember I talked about that the fifth line from the 15 hexagram refers to hexagram number 39 if it moves, and that is Jen, which is indicating lameness and troubles. So that means that this is the situation I am in at the moment. That means that I cannot do too much. I don't understand the situation maybe good enough. Then the fifth line of the 38 hexagram is the stepping on the tail of the tiger, right? This is the text that we just read. So this is indication of that. This hexagram, by the way, is of course the same hexagram as this, except then that the fifth line has become a yang line, so it's heaven above the lake. Now we are going to look at the inner structure of the hexagram before we start analyzing things. For this we have to swipe out a little bit. So you can see now these ones, the inner four lines are two piled trigrams. The upper three lines and the fifth line, the fourth line, and the third line are a trigram, and the first line, the second line, the third line, and the fourth line also is a trigram, and that creates this hexagram. So in the nucleus of this you can find that. I want to show you something else. I got some objections on my book from some people because they thought it was not clear, but what I did actually, I put the lines within the actual graphical line. So this part, this is line number 6, this is a broken line. So if you look at the yin and the kun trigram on the top, you see then this line is like that. And if you go look further, you see that here, this is the fourth line, this is the third line, this is the second line, and this is the first line. But what you see is here, this is the nature of the Wu Xing in this hexagram. This is this line. But then you see here from the second line, towards the here second line, the third line, and the fourth line, it is disappearing here and at the fourth line. But then you see from the fifth line, you go down, and then you go down here again, the fourth line and the third line. This is the this is this inner hexagram. So you can read immediately in the text what is the inner hexagram. You don't have to look it up, because the only thing that is really relevant in there is the interaction between the different Wu Xing. So if we are looking here at the fifth line, which is of course the most important line in this case, we have here the fifth line. You see that this is a earth line, of course, with an influence of yang wood from the thunder. So at the moment when you look at it like that, yang wood will of course uproot the earth, because thunder of course is coming from the earth, so it is an internal force coming out. And the same thing you can do on the other side. You can see the same in the inside. But there's something else going on, and this is something that I would like to understand. Because the inner hexagram of the inner hexagram is actually the reverse of this inner hexagram, and it will be on that side again, so it will keep on reversing. On the other side you will see the same happening. You already see the water there, but then the next one will be a reversal again. Let me show you. So here you see the same. This is again like that. And what the internal two lines and the internal hexagram of this is again this change between water and fire. And water and fire is indicating a stable situation. That means that there is a situation here going on in essence that needs management, because if you forget about your management, the power building from the fire under the water will disperse and will become the water going its own way and the fire going its own way, and there's no communication. And we know from Neidan alchemy, as I teach in my school, that is not a good situation. This will lead to death of the situation, but this will lead to goodness of the situation, properness. So this fifth line becomes a very important one. At the moment when we are understanding what this fifth line actually is, because this becomes the advice line here from the water, and here this fifth line becomes the advice line of the thunder. At that moment it becomes the fifth line, the sixth line in the other one. So there's an advice here, yes, and this advice is relatively constant. This constancy is that the leadership functions that you have will eventually be pushed aside if you don't do anything. So I have to really take charge and control and be active in this process. What I'd like you to take away from this video is that coming to a solution through I Ching is basically a matter of understanding your question, and it is also a matter of understanding the hexagram itself, so that the text basically is illustrative for the hexagram itself and for the lines and the relationship. There's a lot of different kind of computations that you can make. I just made a very simple spread to help you understand something. This is a thing that I would do anyway, and then now after the video is finished I'm going to analyze further, and I do this for my work. So people come to me with questions like, can you please help me build a strategy on the basis of I Ching for my company, or for me personally, my personal relationship with this or this person, or in relationship to my parents, or in relationship to my children, for my education? What choices should I make? There's all kind of questions you can come up with. How do I deal with the death of my parents, the birth of my child? How do I deal with the political situation? What should I choose in an election? Why would I like to analyze myself, or how does it work? The thing is that I Ching doesn't give yes or no question answers. It always becomes a little bit vague, and if you're only relying on the text, then of course rationally you can come up with an answer, but you find that a lot of questions are relatively, how do you say, ambiguous, through which it is easy to reinterpret. So I now made this as a video. At the end of the year we're going to see how it worked, and then we're going to make a new video about this, and I'm going to I think anyway, to do a question for I Ching every week. I will explain something about the I Ching, and in the meantime, if you are part of the course, then of course we have more issues to think about. If you think like, I have a question I would like you to discuss in one video, that would be really great, because this is what I do for my assignments. When somebody comes to me and says like, I would like to have an analysis, they pay me an amount of money depending on the amount of hours that I need for them to come to an answer and to explain it to them. I do this usually through a video, and of course that is private, so I will not share any of the information from these videos here on this channel, unless when people specifically say like, oh, can you also make this public, because I would like you to use this as material to learn about the I Ching. So that's possible. I really enjoy doing these videos. I was suggested to make a channel on the I Ching. Maybe I will do that in the form of live videos on my channel. That will be easy, and you can tune in every week. I will have to find a fixed time. If you think that is a good idea, let me know. If it is overwhelming, no, please don't, then I will not. If it is overwhelming, yes, do that, then I will definitely do it. And if it is somewhere in between, I do need my time for research anyway, so I don't really mind to do it yes or no, but it is fun to do, because I Ching is just a very interesting contribution to life as a whole. And I must say, I do this I Ching stuff now since I was, I think, 16 or 17, when I had no idea about Chinese language or whatever it was, because it was so mystical and so mysterious and so on. But the I Ching is not. It is the root of Chinese medicine science, and without the study of the I Ching, you will never be able to understand Chinese medicine properly. And just buying a book about it is not going to be enough. You see, I already wrote 3 books on I Ching. I'm teaching a course, and I'm still studying every day to make sure that the I Ching understanding that I have will grow. And that is a lifelong process. And there's no place for arrogance there, because you think you understand the I Ching so well. There's also no place for stubbornness as a result of that. So to my friends who are doing I Ching, and if they are watching this video and they think like, oh, there he goes again, he's talking about the graphics again, and the I Ching itself is the most important part of the book. No, sorry. So what can I say? Good luck with your own naivete about the I Ching. Even though 2026 might become a difficult year for you or for some of your dear ones, if we all join hands, we will definitely make the year much more happy, healthy and blissful. If you like to join me in my path on the way to a Daoland healthcare, then I would really appreciate it. Please connect with me this year also, just like last year, to work on a better and healthier future. Take good care of yourself.